Hi, everyone, welcome to Style3D channel. In this video, you will learn animation editor use of tools. So let's get start. Go to the Style3D, then go to Tool. Go to the animation editor. Click the animation setting. In the property editor window, we can see a series of parameters. First, we look at the simulation frame. It works by inserting motion between each frame to achieve a more detailed effect. Let's take a look through the case. Open a file. Go to Animation. Go to Animation Editor. In the Property Editor window, set simulation frame to 10. Add animation. Create animation transition, set to 3 seconds. Click to record. Let's check. This is an effect of the simulation frame of 10. Garment is slightly stiff. Next, we will increase the simulation frame. Change to 30. Add animation. Record again. When the simulation frame is 30, this is the clothing simulation effects. With the movement of the avatar, the garment will not swing very unnatural. Shows reasonable folds and is more delicate. Okay, let's increase the simulation frame again. Adjust to 60. Add animation. Create animation transition, set to 3 seconds. Record again. This is an effect of the simulation frame of 60. When the value is 60, we can see the skirt is a bit stiff. Stick tightly to the avatar. This is because the skirt simulates too much. Draw conclusions by comparing cases. The higher the simulation frame, the better the garment can keep up with the movement of the avatar. But it's not that the higher the better. We need to set an appropriate value according to the actual garment animation and fabric properties. The higher the simulation frame value, the slower the simulation speed, the longer the generated animation. Okay, let's move to the second case. Now let's look at simulation time scale. Adjustment this option. We can create fast motion or slow motion of the garment. It is only for clothing and does not affect the movement of the avatar. We set the simulation frame to 1. Add animation. Click to record. This is the effect of simulation time scale to 1. It can be seen that the dress takes on the physical properties of stretchy satin, swaying with the avatar. We decrease the simulation time scale value. Turn it down to 0.1. Add animation. Click to record. This is a simulated effect with a value of 0.1. Through the movement of the avatar, we can see that The garment fits the model tightly. At a value of 0.1, the simulation speed of clothing becomes faster compared to 1. Next, increase the simulation time scale to 1.9. Add animation. Simulate. This is the effect of a value of 1.9. We can see that when the value is 1.9, garment can't keep up with the movement of the avatar, always slow to react. We concluded that the simulation time scale value is too large or too small is not the best. So when we adjust, need do case-by-case analysis. There is no one-size-fits-all value that can solve all garment problems. We also need to practice more to try the animation effects generated by different values. It is recommended to set around 1 to be more stable. Then open the third case. Let's take a look at the CG finish condition. Its role is to assist the simulated frame. Make the same project, different patterns, different particle distance. The simulation animation effect can be consistent. Let's take a look at the case. Add action. Simulate. The first animation is under the CG finish condition option, and the number of iterations is 50. This is a simulated effect with a value of 50. It can be seen that the swing of the yarn and the inner skirt is not uniform. Then increase the value. Adjust the number of iterations to 100. Add animation. Click to record. We can see that simulation effect with 100 iterations. The influence of the outer yarn on the inner skirt is reduced. By comparison, to set the number of iterations is to specify the number of calculations between each frame of costume action. The higher the number of iterations, the better the simulation, the slower the simulation, and the longer the animation takes. Next, let's take a look at the residual in the CG finish condition function. The animation effect can be optimized by adjusting the residual. First, set the residual to low. Add animation. Create animation transition, changed to 3 seconds. Click to record. When we are uncertain about which value is appropriate for iterations, we can adjust the residuals to low or medium or high. Set the conditions to generate a fixed number of calculations for simulation. This is the simulated effect when the residual is low. We see that the inner skirt of the garment is trapped due to the influence of the outer yarn. Next, we set the residual to be high and then record. As mentioned earlier, residuals are auxiliary. As mentioned earlier, the residual is an auxiliary simulation frame. Adjust the simulation frame rate to 30. Residual set to high. Add action. Create animation transition, changed to 3 seconds. To record. A simulated effect with a high residual. It can be seen that the inner skirt and the outer yarn are more unified with the movement simulation of the avatar. The outer yarn can also keep up with the movement of avatar. Get conclusion. When the particle distance is different at a same animation, the higher the residual, the more consistent the effect. The more consistent the effect between different patterns, the corresponding number of calculations generated will be higher. If we are not sure about the value of iterations set, we can set the residual. It can be understood that the higher the residual, the more iterations, the better the effect and the slower the speed. Finally, let's take a look at the frame rate. The role of the frame rate is to match the values to avoid mold through. Enter the property editor to view the frame rate of the animation. The frame rate is 24, 25, 30, 60 respectively. We need to pay attention when making an animation model externally. Before import to Style3D, we need to adjust the frame rate of the animation in the software to be consistent with the frame rate of the external model. Otherwise it will result in mold through. Please attention that the Style3D preset materials do not need to be changed. This function is mainly for external materials. That's it guys, and I hope some of the tips will help your modeling work. If you like what we do, please liking, commenting and sharing this video. Thanks so much for watching and I will see you in next video. Goodbye.